Yeah, we're gonna keep this pretty free form. Again, we'll do another Q&A. Maybe we'll like make the center of it comedy, or yeah. Okay, we can make like the center of it like comedy. Like what Doug likes to do, like in one of his sessions, is discuss what it takes to make something funny. What is it that makes something funny? And his mantra behind it is that comedy is usually based in suffering, and the theory behind that is that we use laughter as a healing mechanism. Like we like to kind of find the irony or the humor in situations that seem hopeless and devastating, and just kind of turn it around to bounce back from that. And I agree with him in some respects, but I think there's like more to comedy that can make something funny.
So I don't think I've ever heard him say that, but that's really deep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's me kind of elaborating on it, but he thinks that like a lot of forms of comedy are based in suffering, like slapstick, and people's reaction, like be it confusion, anger, or just like complete and utter outrage over like something that happened.
Well, I mean, a lot of his comedy is
Yeah, we get a lot of feedback.
Turn. What are we, number 3 down just a little? Sorry. A lot of his comedy is definitely based out of Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
Which leads right into that suffering and.
Oh yeah, like Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, all of that. Like it's like a lot of squash smash, but then they come back from it, and that's kind of what makes it funny. It's like they're not crushed and obliterated and bleeding and dying and all of that. They're smashed. There's probably like some stars, some funny sound effects, and it's so ridiculous that you can't help but laugh at it. Yeah, and I agree with him in that regard. Yeah, there's definitely comedy that is meant to be that way, but there's also like non sequitur humor, and that's just like the idea of like something that's just completely unexpected, like something that's just so off the wall that you can't help but to laugh at it.
There's definitely a balance though. Like if something is just non sequitur humor, I get real bored with it real quick.
Yeah.
Like that's. But I mean, it's good when it catches you off guard.
Yeah, exactly. When it catches you off guard, like if something catches you completely off guard, you can't help but to burst out in laughter. Like there was this segment in all that. I forget the actress's name. Like moments in. What's that? Yeah. Vital information from Lori Beth, right? Yeah, and like I didn't really quite get it at the time. But like it was non sequitur humor, and apparently she was like really good with it. You see that kind of humor in like like Napoleon Dynamite or Tim and Eric show. Guys like that just have like this really weird, bizarre sort of humor that you can't quite place. But yeah, I mean, there's different ones, for sure.
Yeah.
I know Doug like really subscribes to the suffering and reactionary sort of thing, especially in the videos we do, because we're constantly exploding, blowing up, and dying. But we end up showing up in the next video.
That was I think the weirdest thing. The first time I actually met Doug in person, they were working on To Boldly Flee. It had not, the script was being in, and he shows up and he asks me, he's like, "Do you live in a house or an apartment?" And I'm like, "I live in a house." He's like, do you own it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I was thinking about blowing you up and To Boldly Flee." I'm like, "Hey, does it matter where I actually live? You're not going to blow up my house, are you?"
Like the pyrotechnics going. Just set some dynamite right here.
Yeah, the torture thing. That's
Yeah, that's definitely something he subscribes to. But I mean, that can be kind of like the focus of this particular panel. Like, what are some of your favorite, comedic movies or TV shows or something? Or, what is funny to you? Or you can even ask us. We can just, keep it a general Q&A as well. Just kind of like free form. But I just want to find like a little basis that we can like kind of come back to. Make it a little interesting, spice things up a bit.
So, anyone have questions, comments?
I guess a good example of non sequitur humor would be from the movies from the Pizzazz, Airplane.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Airplane so much.
No, Airplane has a lot of what I'd call the sort of literal comedy. Like they'll say, you know, a colloquialism or some sort of like, you know, phrase that we're used to hearing, but then like take those words in a literal.
Right, make it literal. Man, like, oh man, I love that movie so much. I got to rewatch it. Like I saw it for the first time just last year, and like it was my first time ever seeing it. I really need to rewatch it so I have it fresh in my mind. But I do remember laughing at it a lot. Yeah. Yes.
Hi, I was going to ask what you guys' favorite project was to work on.
Yeah.
Favorite project that we had to work on. Do you have something come to mind?
Like favorite project, like in general, like
Yeah.
not necessarily even the reviews.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you worked on in the past.
Oh man, like I know, like I've stated this like yesterday and the day before, but like my two favorite reviews are the Mad Max review and the Rogue One review. I really enjoy doing the clipless reviews as much as people like to see, like, you know, the clips from the movies. You know, it sucks that we have to like try to find a roundabout, you know, due to, you know, YouTube and their misunderstanding of what copyright is. It's still a lot of fun. It kind of it forces our hand to like be more creative, and so it's a lot of fun having to, you know, find workarounds, like, you know, making parodies,
Right.
and things like that, reenacting parts from the movie.
I mean, myself, aside from, you know, that Sci-Fi Guy show itself, which, you know, is entertaining, I definitely enjoy when I got a chance to sort of step out and do something different. That Fantasy Guy episode that I did took a lot of work because it was an outdoor location, and I had this really heavy, like, wooden sculpted throne chair that we had to carry like half a mile to get to this location I really wanted to use, and it was cold, and just a lot of work went into it. It was a lot of fun, but then like it got less views than like any of my other episodes.
Oh, man.
But then that, and then the Uncanny Valley project that I did, Dragged In, that was a lot of fun to work on because it was just, you know, something different, sort of fun to.
Oh yeah, Uncanny Valley. That one was fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of like just a collection of different sort of stories.
Well, when they pitched it to me, they said sort of like, you know, Twilight Zone or Simpsons Halloween Special. You know, I think y'all went more Twilight Zone. I definitely aimed more Simpsons Halloween Special.
Yeah. Oh, but it was good. Yeah, another project that I worked on that was just kind of outside of Nostalgia Critic. Are you guys familiar with CinemaSnob? Yeah. Oh my God, he is super, super hilarious. He has a project called Jesus Bro that I worked on. Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm still not entirely sure what the script means, but I do know that I appear in the movie as the devil. So,
You don't say.
yes, I do say. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it so I can see the project in its entirety. So I'm excited for that. Huh? That's a good question. He just might.
I would wager there's a good chance.
Yeah, it's highly likely, I'd say.
Blue shirt, I saw.
How do you guys choose which movies to review? Like, is there anything that goes into fan response or just what you guys personally want to work on?
I personally like to try to hit a fairly wide range. I like to go a little bit older, and then I like to hit something new. But I also like to balance what I call fun bad and bad. Because, like, if I just did movies that were, like, awful, I would, like, want to kill myself. So yeah, I kind of balance it with, like, oh, I mean, this movie is bad and there's a lot of things to sort of poke fun at, but, like, I at least kind of, you know, it's somewhat enjoyable to watch.
The difference between Food Fight and Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
Yeah, like sort of like that. Yeah, I know, like Doug and Rob, they kind of subscribe to that sort of approach too. Like when they see a movie, they gotta, you know, find something, you know, funny to say about it. Because I mean, otherwise you're just saying, yeah, this is bad. Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
There definitely has to at least, yeah, even ones that are bad. There has to, it's like, do I have something to say about this?
Yeah, like something
Yeah.
interesting at least. Yes.
Malcolm, of all the characters you've had play in the reviews, which one would you say is your favorite?
My favorites. Oh, like more than one?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. Well, going down the list, like the top two that I go to that I really enjoy playing are between the Devil and the Channel Awesome version of me. Because the Channel Awesome version of me isn't actually me; it's more so Doug's interpretation of me, like what he perceives me to be. So it's really interesting to kind of play that version of myself, like who am I through the eyes of Doug?
Right.
It's super meta. And then aside from that, I mean, there's so many other characters that I play, like Black Willy Wonka. There's Bill. There's good old Bill, who was there from the beginning. Now there's dancing Darth Vader. Yeah, Carrot Juice, the Black Rabbit. And yeah, there's just tons of Benny the Assassin. I really enjoy playing all these characters because Doug will write them out, and as we're filming, we discover more that we can do with the character, and they just end up growing into something completely on their own.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's always exciting.
It's fun to see how those characters grow, because
Yeah, and some of them just are really a smash hit for no reason. Just
well, I mean, in an example, the first time I think I appeared on screen with Nostalgia Critic was at a Comic-Con, and it was that one of the Star Trek reviews, and the way he had the script written originally was he comes into my room and basically tells me that I have to leave, and he's like, no, you can't leave through the door, you have to go through the window. But our windows weren't open, and we were on the first floor, so there was no threat to bodily harm, so that wasn't funny.
right.
So that's why we kind of came up with I'm I don't know, maybe you could just send me to the corner or something, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then that evolved and became a thing.
it's awesome.
How do you come up with the characters and personas you use here in the videos, like the Devil and Evilita from the Master Two review? How did you come up with that type of gig?
Oh, just you mean the approach to playing the character?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like Doug has a pretty good idea of what he wants, but then as an actor, as actors, it's our responsibility to just kind of interpret the script to see how we can bring it to life. So with the Devil, the way Doug described him, he's dressed in a suit and a tie, and he has that. So I thought of him more as a businessman. What can you bring to the table to satisfy my needs? When you're in a suit, it's business, and it made him seem more as a warden as opposed to this menacing character with a pitchfork. Pitchfork, tail, and horns. That's gonna be the dancing demons you see in a Chuck Jones animation. But as soon as you put a suit on, that changes the approach entirely.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, and some of it is just a lot of times when I'll do a character, it'll be loosely based on somebody that I've met.
Yeah, too.
It's this person that I met one time that's practically already a cartoon character. I'm literally just gonna take this personality and sort of.
That too. It's actually kind of one of the secrets to acting is when you portray a character, usually there's someone that you've met or you've seen before that would totally remind you of what this character would be. And the Devil is actually a combination between Keith David and a friend of mine named Jason Marnoka, who is an incredible voice actor. He does a lot of voice acting, and just the way he carries himself. He plays a lot of villains, and he's very intimidating. He speaks with his villainous voice, and he has a mustache, and he raises his eyebrows. And he does an incredible Mark Hamill Joker impression, just to top things off. He's a great guy. He was in. He plays. I can't believe I'm blank in the Combiner Wars.
Oh yeah. I haven't watched it.
No.
I've seen the trailers.
Well, there's Optimus Prime, and then there's
Megatron?
Yes, he plays Megatron.
Oh, okay.
He plays Megatron in Combiner Wars. I can't believe that. He plays Megatron in the Hasbro miniseries Combiner Wars, and he does a really damn good job. But that's just an example of what he does. But yeah, I take a lot of inspiration from him when it comes to portraying the Devil and Keith David. So it's like an amalgamation of the two, a little bit with my interpretation. So yeah, there's a lot that goes. There is a thought process that goes into playing characters for sure.
It's basically doing impressions.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I think you talked about the channel emergency and whatnot. With Doug Walker, is he literally that obsessed with Christmas, or is that the channel also?
No,
Yes.
he's literally that obsessed with
Really,
Christmas.
he loves Christmas. Like one time in we were on our way to a con called Anime Iowa, and we stopped by this the Amana Colonies. It's like on the way there, and they had like this little section in their shop that was like dedicated to Christmas. He was like, "Oh my god, I gotta take a picture here." Like he literally like just is in love with the holiday, love with the season. So yeah, it's a little bit exaggerated, but
I mean,
like 10% exaggerated.
Right.
I believe your hand was up. Yeah.
What are some of the projects you've done that the number of views that got surprised you? I mean, you weren't necessarily disappointed with them, but you didn't expect it to get as many views as they did.
Let's see. Like
My Jason X review, I think. I'm not sure why. That one just always seems to get more views than anything. I'm not sure what it is about that particular review, but it's always at the peak over like everything else.
I know like it'll be random. Like certain reviews, they just like get more attention than others. Whereas like reviews we expect to be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the one. This is gonna be like the big hit. The Turbo Power Rangers movie, like we did that one. We thought that was gonna be like a big thing, but it's just like no one really paid attention to it. It's like it's just like yeah,
Maybe.
probably. Or like sometimes people are just like they already know. It's like yeah, this is a bad movie. So when you're like reiterating the obvious, then it's kind of like yeah, we knew that. So it's not gonna really spark interest. But if you have like I guess an idea that kind of is contrarian or is a little bit controversial, like is Batman versus Superman the greatest superhero movie? That's gonna like what? Fire up your keyboards. Yeah, exactly.
You idiots!
You idiots. Things like that. Yeah, sometimes it can be clickbait, or sometimes it is generally like your opinion that might be controversial that will draw an attention. But yeah. Yes.
Is there any character that you have played that you like really want to play that you've already played, or is there characters that you're looking forward to playing either one of you?
Not specifically that I can think of.
Let's see, like because like I'm a big fan of like martial arts movies and like action shows and things like that. If there's a character where I can like do like some like a choreographed like fight scene or something like that, that's something that I've always wanted to do. And if you guys are familiar with Lando, who played Malachite in was it Suburban Nights?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's a martial artist, and I have training in martial arts as well as stage. It's mixed martial arts, like Taekwondo and Muay Thai are like my base. But yeah, we were talking about like choreographing something like for a video. That'd be great. Like that's something that we've always wanted to do. So there's that. I can't think of a specific character.
Yeah.
But something like that would involve like a lot of physical elements would be fun.
In the back of the jacket there, yeah. What prompted the move over from that guy with the glasses from like Blip, like the name change from that guy with the glasses to Channel Awesome, and then the move to YouTube? Well, the move to YouTube is a pretty simple one. The site that we were using, blip.tv, shut down. Maker bought it and then shut it down. So, and Disney, but yeah, so we literally had to find a new home. And where do you get the most views on the internet?
YouTube.
YouTube.
You guys used Vessel for a while, but now Verizon bought that and they shut that thing down.
Yeah, I mean, the internet is a constantly growing and changing sort of organism. So it's like, you know, you have to adjust accordingly. As far as like the name change from that guy with the glasses to Channel Awesome,
I would wager it had to do with the fact that that guy with the glasses is specifically Doug.
Yeah.
Right? And Channel Awesome is a little bit more of a, umbrella.
Because like there were like these two monikers, like they were both existing side by side for a while.
For a while, yeah.
I guess they just kind of wanted to like settle on one, and
Channel Awesome sounds a little more professional.
Yeah, and it's a little more succinct. It rolls off the tongue better, I guess.
Yeah.
Than
Tigwatig.
Yeah, Tigwatig. Yes.
Two questions, one related to site business and another related to NC. The site business one is, I know there are people, who have voluntarily left Channel Austin, like the nostalgia chick and whatnot. But have you guys ever went through the roster and told some, actually, kick people out because of, lack of quality or being just overall controversial?
I can't really say that that's happened. I wouldn't know.
That's above my pay grade.
I guess I'll have to ask Doug next year.
Yeah.
It was.
A question regarding NC is, do you think that the clipless reviews, the ones that come out, pretty much week of release, or within a week of release, do you think those, could be better if you waited until the video came out, home video came out, or do you think, people want instant gratification?
I mean, there is that term, like, strike while the iron is hot. People want to, people are always like curious about knowing what, your feelings about a topic is. As critics, we kind of have a duty to.
I personally think it should be, simply, Doug reviews or sibling rivalry at release of the cinema, and then rivalries video will be NC.
I mean, better is also a very subjective term to it. I think that those style reviews really give Doug a chance to get a creative outlet that he really wanted to get in, and obviously what he was trying to do with demo reel and whatnot, but at the same time still be producing Nostalgia Critic, which is what people really want to be seeing. And so it's sort of best of both worlds, so to speak. It allows him to, not get bored with it and really express himself and keep Nostalgia Critic flowing.
And there has been one case, like, I know Hocus Pocus was a clipless or mostly clipless review, even though it was already out for decades now. What made you choose to do that? You guys choose to do that?
Oh, well, sometimes you get like a new perspective on a movie that you might have seen like years ago, and you start to change your views about the topic.
The whole virginity thing was a big sticking point in Doug, when Doug brought it up during his December.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you see something as a kid, like, you might, loved it or hated it, but then like years later, as you mature and grow, like you watch it again and your perspective changed on it completely. It's like, hey, I really like this, or man, that sucked. Why did I like this when I was a kid? So, sometimes revisiting things with a fresh new perspective after you've had a new experience in life,
Because, people's opinions change.
Oh, yeah.
Richard?
This question goes to both of you. Do you guys play video games? And if you do, are you excited for any games coming out this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Play video games. I literally just started Resident Evil 7.
Same.
Is it any good? I
barely started it. I'll tell you what, and some horror games do this trope every once in a while. You get to this, and it's not spoilers, it's right at the beginning of the game. You're in the woods and you come up to this cabin and there's like barbed wire going across with like pieces of cow and saw blades hanging off of it, and it's just, and in order to progress the game you have to go forward. It's like, nope, no, this was an interesting trip, going home now.
Yeah. But you know immediately you're going to end up in that house on the hill somehow. So it's very exciting. It's a great setup.
You don't play with VR?
If I had one, I would.
Yeah, same. I really want to play that in VR.
PlayStation VR?
Yeah.
But yeah, a game I'm looking forward to is the Ni no Kuni sequel. Definitely want to play that, yeah. I'm excited.
PC, actually.
Oh, it's got a PC version. Interesting. Okay. Who haven't we called on yet? Yes, you there in the jean shirt.
What was your least favorite character to play?
My least favorite character to play, huh?
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of different characters, so I don't think I have a least favorite.
I guess it's more of a balance question.
Yeah.
Possibly. Like I'm trying to think. Least favorite character that I just didn't really care to play. The what? The token. Oh, from Monster Squad. Oh, I mean, yeah, like I have a lot of fun with like all the characters he throws at me. I mean, again, even that was just kind of like, it was like campy, cheesy. So it's just like, yeah, like, and it was totally a satire of that trope that you would see in the 80s. Like, it's like, yeah, that's the black kid. Just like smashing. He's got the cool, sick, coolness with him. So it's like, that was fun to do. Yeah, I don't know. I might get a lot of flack for this actually. I don't know. I just didn't I didn't really care to play Soka. Yeah, I know. As much as I had fun with that, I guess and again, it's hard to really say that because I have fun with all the characters that I play, but he's kind of on the lower end of it. It's just I don't know. It was a satire of a pretty decent character in my opinion. So
In the back there.
Hi, question for both of y'all. Just over the course of making a full video, what is the part that you just cannot stand doing? Every time you get to it, you're just like, I don't want to do that.
When I'm in my editing process, there's a thing that I sort of call scrubbing footage, and that's literally just going through all the things that I've shot and pulling out every potential usable take and sort of lining them up, and then going through, and then after that, when I'm starting to put the thing together, that's where it's more fun. But it's that just tedious scrubbing through every bit of thing that I shot and cutting out all the literal just not usable material, and that that's just because it's left brain, right brain. To me, that's a very mechanical left brain part of it. Until when I get to the actual putting it together, it's more like building Legos and more of a creative right brain. So it's that scrubbing footage part that's just tedious.
Yeah, agreed. When I do behind the scenes and I just I'm on set for 6 hours, I'll have 3 hours worth of footage, and I don't think people want to watch a 3-hour video, so I got to go through there, find the segments that are interesting about the behind the scenes, and somehow make it a 20-25 minute video tops maybe, and it can be rough just trying to take out the bits and pieces that are interesting in just a very free-form video. Yes. What's the most fun thing that you've done during Nostalgia Critic videos?
Most fun.
Oh man, I gotta say that the most fun that we have is usually when it's kind of hard to choose because when we're filming we're having fun, but I gotta say some of the best moments are when the camera isn't rolling and we're just kind of talking amongst ourselves, which is kind of where inspiration for the behind the scenes came in. But there was this moment when we had Dante Bosco there for the top 11 best Avatar episodes.
He hasn't the worst, and that's the best. All the time.
Yeah. And it was during the top 11 best when he was attacking the studio. But during the off-camera moments, he had been up until 5 a.m. playing poker with the producers. And so he was just dead tired. He would be sleeping with the Zuko makeup on. And so Rob would come up to him while he's sleeping on the couch and snap a photo. And so it was just, it was all in good fun. And he would be playing Crossfire with Jim while they're just in between shots. And what's that? Yeah, all the downtime. That's
I'd say something that's honestly the Les Mis review. I spent I only had a really small part in that review, but I spent a lot of time off camera helping make that, and like reading lines. Like when they were like talking to someone, I would like be reading lines for the people who weren't there at the moment, you know, and all that process. And there's a lot of giggling and fun that happened, you know, doing Linkara impersonations, you know, off camera that never get used, you know.
Chicken fingers. We love you, Linkara.
Wish you could come down here. Tell him that next time you see him, come to Comic-Con soon.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to. Yes, you sir. The dreads. Yes.
Usually when you're making videos or you come up with ideas, is there ever like, let's say a down part where you have to think, hey, maybe something is completely correct or completely incorrect to make? Because a big topic like that came up when Doug did his video about Scarlett Johansson playing Matoko in the Ghost in the Shell movie.
Okay, so like basically the question is, whenever we are creating the content, do we think something is probably too, you know, controversial, and we have to kind of change our minds about incorporating that into the video? Is that a good summary of your question? Yeah. So
for me, those usually get weeded out. Like I have a process where I'll sit down with some friends and we'll sort of just riff the movie, and I have someone that's like, you know, writing down basically every random stray thought that gets thrown out in the room. And you know, there's definitely some over the line jokes that happen in that form, in that part of the process. But those get weeded out usually before they make it into my script. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious, but no.
Yeah. There's been times like where, you know, a joke might be a little like pushing it a little too far, or we might be a little uncomfortable with like performing it. Like there's been like a few like hanging jokes that didn't make it into the final production because like sometimes Doug will even have to like confer with like the crew, like be like, hey, is this okay? And we'll be like, probably not. You know, we'll have to like just be like, yeah, no, we're gonna leave that out. But I mean, for the most part, we don't mind pushing the envelope, but at the same time, we do respect boundaries and we try to not cross them at certain points. But
yeah, I think, you know, one incident that happened with Doug back in the early days was, you know, the whole thing with Ernest H. Christmas and the whole autistic thing. That's like the number one screw up on one of his videos.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to ask him about that. But yeah, I mean, controversy happens, but you know.
Orange shirt. Like blooper, bloopers? Have we ever considered doing behind the scenes blooper type things?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a thing whenever I'm editing an episode. If there are any things that like sort of like potentially funny bloopers in my editing process, I'll sort of throw them at the end of my timeline. And on my very first like rough edit render, I'll include those just so that if I ever want to go back and look for bloopers, I can always go to that render one on every episode and find those. And like I've assembled blooper reels, but I usually bring those to like cons and stuff. I don't know, I've never posted one online.
Yeah, like I mean, with me, like I do the making ofs for the Nostalgia Critic. I don't know if you've seen them. Yeah, there's like a whole playlist in the miscellaneous section on the Channel Awesome page, where if you click on that, there's actually a behind the scenes video playlist where like I just take my camera and I just go on set and just kind of give like a freeform guerrilla style documentary sort of deal of what it's like to film on the set of Nostalgia Critic. And there I do capture a lot of outtakes and bloopers and hijinks on set. So I mean, if you want to check that out, that's something that I do on the regular, usually with like more of the elaborate reviews. So yeah.
There's a hand back here. You've been trying to.
In the grid.
Yeah.
If both of you could make Doug and Rob review any films, no questions asked, they have no choice in the matter, what would you pick them to review?
Make Doug. If we could make Doug and Rob review any movie we wanted.
Huh.
See, that's the thing, is that like they've already reviewed some of the worst movies that I've ever seen.
Let's see. I mean, I would really like to. What's that?
I bet you did have the other panel film for you?
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. But one that I would really want to see done is Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll support that.
yeah. And it hurts to say that movie's title. They have to pay.
I try not to.
Yeah, I try not to think about it. Don't think it, don't say
Oh,
it.
maybe because there was. Do you remember the old Dragon Ball movie? It was made in like
Dragon Pearl?
Yeah.
I got that on VHS. I want to find a DVD copy of that because that was fun. You guys ever heard of that? Dragon Pearl?
Oh, you should seek that out. If you think Dragon Ball Evolution is bad, hold on to your seats.
You know what? I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Oh, I mean, enjoy it, sure.
Because the action sequences are actually good.
That's fair.
Yeah, because they're actual martial artists.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, it is pretty ridiculous though. Let's see. Yeah.
What is a guilty pleasure movie for us? See, I have a little bit of a thing with that. I don't feel bad for liking. I just acknowledge the fact that I like bad movies. I'm not guilty about it. It's like, no, I know this movie's garbage, but I love it. Battleship.
Oh man. Let's see. Guilty pleasure mine. Like, I really liked Over the Hedge. Like, I don't know. Like, I know people like just thought it sucked, but Over the Hedge I felt like was a homey, cozy like little slice of life movie. It makes me giggle to this day. Don't judge me. Let's see. Yeah, see there.
Which of y'all's videos gave y'all the most trouble during creation?
The most trouble. Well, you might be familiar with the title of this movie, Face Off. That entire review got, that entire review got deleted. Yeah, that was supposed to have been actually Tamara's introduction to the show, and it was like this elaborate like subplot where Rachel and Tamara were battling each other. Like Tamara was trying to like swap faces with Rachel, and like in the end we end up like sending off the wrong person. Yeah, so I mean, it was so interesting. Like, I still have the behind the scenes of that up on my channel. But yeah, that whole review got deleted after we filmed everything. So.
I have like 3 kind of. One was that fantasy guy, just due to the complications that I already explained of carrying all the things, and it was just outdoors, and so all dealing with all that. There was a review that I forgot to plug in the microphone, so it was all the onboard camera mic, and it sounded awful, and I had to basically just re-record the whole episode. But probably the one that it was like my second review ever was the core. I was like 90% done editing it, and the edit file corrupted, and I had to I spent like a week probably trying to like save, and I ultimately just ended up having to rebuild it. And I also learned at that point, make tiered saves. Every time you save, just throw a new number on the end of it, so that you can save files are very small. It's worth it.
Let's see. We have a call on here in a minute.
I know you probably can't ask before, but for the last thing, I want to know one more time.
One more time? I'll save it for the end. I'll do it at the end. Yeah, because I don't want to win myself. And I'm just like, next question.
Last dance.
Right, the last dance. Oh yes, you there?
Is there any movie reviewer or other YouTuber that you and Doug particularly look up to or draw inspiration?
Oh, it's interesting.
I tell you, I mean,
like a YouTuber?
Movie critic or YouTuber, just anyone that really gives you inspiration in your creating.
I know Doug was really inspired by Roger Ebert.
Yeah,
that was one of his big inspirations.
There's a guy that I really like, Belated Media. He did a video that was what if episode 1 was good, and sort of retooled. Let's take episode 1 as it was presented to us and pretend that I'm a story editor at Fox, and let's work through this and keep the things that were good and change the things that aren't. And I really like his videos.
As far as like personalities, like just learning how to project and be open and inviting. Like I look at other YouTubers and see how they speak and talk, how they engage themselves in videos. I mean, like there's people like Game Grumps or Markiplier. Like when they speak and talk, it's very it's very genuine. So like from an acting standpoint, I just learned how to just kind of like just be myself when I'm portraying characters. It's like taking a part of yourself and inserting it into the character that you're playing. So there's that sort of deal. First, let's see. Yes, you with the dreadlocks.
What's your budget?
Oh, the budget. That's like a question for the producer, to be honest. I mean, we don't spend a whole lot, to be honest, for each review. Like we just make do with what we got. I mean, if we have to shell out a little extra, that is definitely something that Doug and not necessarily even Rob. I mean, maybe Rob. I don't know, but I know that's like a whole other thing that I don't necessarily know.
As little as possible.
Yeah, there we go.
Beyond initial setup, like having at this point having a decent camera and microphone and whatnot, but those are kind of like upfront costs, so to speak, that I don't those are paid. But like as far as the individual episodes, as little as possible.
Yeah. You don't want to break budget. Break that.
Blue shirt?
Yeah. Horror movies? Our favorite
horror movies. Ooh. I do like a lot of horror movies. So it's hard for me to narrow it down. Would you consider the first Alien movie? Or maybe Terminator. We'll go with Terminator.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm actually a real big fan of the Conjuring movie series. I don't know, I just feel like they bring back like classic horror tropes. That, like Conjuring like 1 and 2. Oh, you haven't heard of them? Wow, no one's yeah, the Conjuring. Oh, Conjuring.
And when I say Terminator, I do mean the Terminator, the first one, because that one was still kind of sci-fi, but it was a horror movie too, still. It was a murdering robot that was coming after you.
Wow, 2 minutes already? Oh wow. Let's see. Yes, you back there.
Doug or any of y'all ever considered reviewing anime movies?
Doug has.
Doug did the one review of Sailor Moon. I didn't remember watching the video of that.
Right. Yeah, we reviewed the Sailor Moon as like a show.
Oh, he did like Ponyo and or something like that.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah. We do touch on anime a little bit, but like Doug isn't really like super well versed in anime, and he admits that. Like Rob, on the
is the anime guy.
Yeah, he's like super gung ho anime, and so am I. So him and I are actually gonna
just keep poking him.
Him and I, like, we're actually going to be working on a new video series that kind of focuses on anime. So keep your eyes open for that. I've mentioned that once before to somebody here. I forget who. Yeah, that's you. And you have a question. So.
Really wondering, how does Doug or Rob feel about Dragon Ball Z?
Rob's phrase is "friends don't let friends watch Dragon Ball Z." And I'm just like, you, pox on you. Yeah, so and Doug's just like, I don't get it. So yeah, I'm like, it's like me and Walter are like the diehard Dragon Ball Z fans in the channel. Awesome. Well, no, not.
I like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he likes Dragon Ball. The Nostalgia Critic crew, like me and Walter are, but there's other people.
I understand Pokemon, and I like Pokemon, but I love Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. I love all of Dragon Ball except GT. Yeah, I think we have time for one more.
One more? Yeah.
One more question. You there, sir? Yes, with your. Yes, with his hand.
Doing stuff for YouTube and like the channel.
I mean,
I don't have a time frame on it. As long as it's a viable option. As long as YouTube lets us.
yeah,
Yeah, as long as there's people willing to watch it.
yeah, as long as it's viable, as long as there's an interest, as long as there's a medium, as long as people continue to watch. I mean, and as long as I can, as long as there's a continued interest in doing it, then don't plan on stopping anytime soon. All right, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, you all are wonderful. Thank you. And we'll see you next year. Actually.
You have to dance.